There's a lot of questions regarding sunscreens. A lot of men beg off the sunscreen in your findings?
I'm not sure men do it any worse than women. A lot of folks don't do sunscreen. They don't like bother, don't like the smell, don't think it looks good to have a tan. Many reasons.
Back in, 2012, there were some new regulations involving the labeling of sunscreen, Dr. Johnson, to help people that are using sunscreen choose the right product for them. Can you go through kind of what are good products to use?
The big change that was made in 2012 was the FDA stated that no sunscreen can be rated at higher than SPF, which stands for Sun Protection Factor 50. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is that is supposed to mean that if I am in the sun for 1 hour, an SPF 50 would give me the same amount of skin damage or skin injury in 50 hours as in 1 hour if I had nothing on. So that's what the number on the sunscreen means. But none of them can actually give more than 50 hours. You have to reapply them. Mm-hmm. That is trying to give you an idea of how much protection's there. Some have a lot of the protective ingredients, like avobenzone and many other exotic drugs, but the idea is how much of that is related to the number. So the good ones have a number of 30 or better because that gives you really good protection. But even those need to be reapplied over a few hours because they're used.
Talk a little bit about what we used to see as waterproof, sweat-proof kind of sunscreen. Apparently that's not the case, huh?
Some are more water-resistant than others. Then some are less so. And again, that's another thing the FDA wanted to avoid was people thinking that if I have a sunscreen on that says waterproof, I can get in and out of water all day long and I'm safe. Because even the waterproof ones need to be reapplied every couple of hours if you're in and out of water. But the more waterproof ones tend to be more oily because it's the oil that allows them to be water resistant, where the less water resistant ones are water based and typically easier and more pleasant to put on, but they'll sweat off and wipe off and have to be reapplied more frequently.
Well, to your point, Dr. Johnson, about the odor or fragrance of the sunscreens and how they feel on your skin, you can go through and you can look at all these lists of recommended products, but what everybody needs to just think about is finding a product that they like to use so that they will use it.
They really use it. That really is the key. And whether it is something that is real high SPF or something that is more water resistant, what you really want is something that you will put on regularly. It doesn't matter if it's a spray-on or a lotion. The main key is to have something that you'll use. That's correct.
So what are your favorites? Do you have any particular brand that you prefer?
I have a real preference personally for sunscreens that contain titanium dioxide or zinc oxide as the blocker, or at least as one of the blockers. And the reason for those is they're not used up when they are in the sun. All of the other sunblocks, while they're very effective, when they absorb light, they're destroyed by the light and give less and less protection over time. So when you're looking at the label, I have a preference to having some titanium dioxide in the mixture because that means I'm never without some protection while I'm outside.
I am such a label reader, Dr. Johnson. I really appreciate you pointing out those active ingredients because I think that's really important. Let's talk for just a minute about some other products. What about the sunscreen clothing?
The sunscreen clothing tends to be pretty effective, and I think that especially when they're new. Now, some studies have shown with multiple washings, not just a few, not a dozen or so, but if you start getting over 50 to 100 washings, they become less effective. But in general, they're a really good idea when it's not just too crushingly hot to wear them.
Dr. Johnson, we do appreciate your time, and thanks for being on with us this morning. Skincare expert, cosmetic surgeon, Dr. Bill Johnson. Do you have a website we can check out? Any information?
Sure do. My website is www.innovationsmedical.com.
All right, innovationsmedical.com. Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Cindy. We'll be back with more with the morning team at 84 to the HAS.